biologically active. Have you ever noticed that people respond differently to different oils? We don't all have the same reaction. That's because essential oils are biologically active. So they will respond to our chemistry, and there'll be this relationship going on between them because they're biologically active. Oils are active at the surface of cells and demonstrate specific cell targets. This is really awesome because it means they're responding to what they find in those cells. Now this then leads straight on to the next one. They are cell selective. So if they can recognise something that's at the cell surface, so like a little lock and key or a receptor or a flag, because that's all these chemical messengers are little flags on the cell surface. This is what needs to happen to me, this is what needs to happen to me. And so they can be then selective based on what signal they come across in our cells. So what this means is that we can then differentiate between a cell that is damaged, needing to die, and a cell that is repairable and can be then saved. That's incredible. So disease is fundamentally linked to unmet cellular needs. That sounds like a really basic statement, but actually, if we can meet the cell's needs, then let's do that. Like, this is what DDR Prime is designed for. So, what is the natural response? The natural response of the body is this. So, well, before we go to the natural response, there's a few different ways that DNA damage happens. One of them is through poor nutrition. And maybe that's just that we're not quite meeting the body's needs. We're not quite feeding ourselves the way we need to. Or, at the other extreme, we're actually eating foods that are creating damage themselves. And we know that sugar, there's also lots of other substances. Sugar is definitely one of them that is bad news for our cells. The other way is inflammation or oxidative stress. So this is those free radicals. If you ever heard of free radicals, I always picture them as these crazy air hockey pucks flying around and hitting everything and damaging everything as they go. And we need someone to go, oh, stop. And that's what antioxidants do. And then the third one is toxicity. Now, how lucky are we that we have all these non-toxic products that we can have in our home for our skin, for our hair, and for our hands, for our laundry. There's so many things that we can be reducing that toxicity, and that's one of the key ways we can reduce damaged DNA within our cells. Now, what happens when there is any damage in our DNA? It releases a chemical signal, a chemical messenger that says, I'm damaged, I need repairing. And so the body goes to work to repair that cell. Either they will repair the cell, they will destroy the cell. And apoptosis, you might have heard apoptosis in relation to frankincense, because frankincense is phenomenal at being able to be cell-specific, targeted. This cell is damaged, we're going to trigger apoptosis. That's what frankincense can do, which is why it's such a good oil to have. And with that kind of sniper approach, we don't need to kill all the cells, and we know certain treatment of certain diseases, they don't differentiate, do they? They just kind of, we're just going to all of those cells. And there's good ones and bad ones in there, but we can't differentiate them, whereas frankincense can, and other oils can as well. Now, how do these oils, how do we support this process? Well, nutrition is key. Dr. Hill mentions, this is, a lot of this comes from Dr. Hill. Dr. Hill mentions this is why we created LLV. We created LLV to be able to provide the cells with the nutrition that they need, the energy that they need, and the building blocks that they need, so that we can really work at our best. It's really, really key to that. The other thing is essential oils. And there's such a huge base of research into how essential oils can support with this. They can work within the protection of DNA, as well as the reversal. Reversal is quite a big thing, right? Reversal, not just prevention, reversal of damaged DNA. And that's a huge thing. And there are so many studies into this. DDR Prime is totally sat within the basis of all of this evidence. And that's where all of the information that they've got. Now, these are the oils that you'll find in DDR Prime. And what do they do? And you'll see some overlap, which is really cool, because that's perfect evidence as to how they differentiate. So you'll see this inhibiting DNA damage. So he actually used the P word, Lisa, actually, I'll point out to you. Dr. Hill used the P word. I changed it because I thought I can't put that up there. But inhibiting DNA damage, frankincense, which I already mentioned about that one, thyme, lemongrass, So these are supporting the cells to be able to repair when they can. So we're giving the body more capability to repair. Obviously that's the best option, is repair the cell, it starts working really, really well again. Induce apoptosis, remember that's cell death. Lemongrass again. So we know, we can see this, that the same oils doing two different functions, saving the cell or killing the cell. That in itself is highlighting how differentiated it can be and recognizing what part of the life cycle that cell is in. Then you've got clove. Clove has the ability to actually break the cell membrane. If it recognizes that that's what that cell needs, it breaks the cell membrane. Now, cell membrane, once the cell membrane is broken, that cell's not going anywhere. It's, what's inside has now come out, it's done. So if that cell membrane is broken, brilliant. That cell is dying in a good way. Then we've got reduced oxidative stress. Well, we know that clove is actually the highest antioxidant on the ORIC scale. I remember actually hearing that from Becky at one of her first classes at your hand. The ORIC scale was like, what's the ORIC scale? But it's the scale that they rate antioxidants on, and clove essential oil is right up here. And actually, I know maybe there's a dentist in the room, but actually dentists still use clove essential oil. I'm not talking Seblomas, who obviously uses that. Normal dentists use clove essential oil, but they don't call it clove essential oil, because my dentists love me because I ask 1,000 questions while my son is having his broken teeth fixed. What should I do now? What's that for? What's that? Do you ever use tea tree? Do you ever use cloves? What's that? And so this is it, and they said, oh, what is that? Oh, that's clove essential oil. I was like, why the heck do you not call it clove essential oil? Because that probably doesn't seem quite as normal for most people. But I love that he's using it, and I think that's so powerful. And then one of the reasons why they do that is because it reduces oxidative stress. It helps to reduce oxidation. It's such a powerful antioxidant. And then we've got orange and summer savory. It's also reducing that oxidative stress, capturing those free radicals, those wild things flying around that we don't want. This is a lovely quote from Dr.